You can't from the air. A ground component as well. There are many possibilities for this ground component, and I take the liberty of not sharing with you all those possibilities.
Would you recognize Pahlavi if the people keep chanting for him in the streets?
Well, I'm not going to say who specifically is going to be there, but I think he's been a force for good. He's been trying to get the people. I think it's too early to say.
Next question from Richard Engel.
So he can make his point, and then the prime minister. Well, you turned into ONN.
Well, I think we have concrete goals, how to do it, how to end it. Nuclear program that are achievable, but I'm not going to put a schedule. We have goals that have to be achieved, and we're not counting the days. But I will say this canard that we drag the United States into it is not just a canard. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I mean, President Trump said it best, and I said it as well many times. There's always a danger in acting. But in conditions of existential threats, there's a much greater danger in not acting. What do you think would have happened if America did not act now? Just imagine what would have happened. In a few months' time, no more than a year, Khamenei, still alive, would have ordered the beginnings of the new nuclear program and the reconstructed ballistic missile program to move underground. Now, it'll take 3 years, but you can't reach those programs. And they develop intercontinental ballistic missiles, okay? That means missiles that can hit Chicago and New York and Florida and Texas and California. Oh, but they wait. No, just let them do it, just wait. It's the last moment. No, it takes a little time. Yeah. Industries and this transitional government in Iran. So you sit back and you say, well, it's not going to happen in the next Thursday, so let's not act. I tell you that there's enormous risk in not acting, much greater risk than acting. And if you think that the oil markets are in trouble today, think of Iran with nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them. Think of the blackmail that you would endure.
Around the world that are burning. Gas prices are going up. The war is popular here in Israel. It's not popular with many Americans. My question was, how do you see this ending? Not why, not even when. What do you?
Very well, because we're real partners. I think that what has to be done is to have alternative routes instead of going through the choke points of the Hormuz Straits and Bab el-Mandeb Straits in order to have the flow of oil. Just have oil pipelines, gas pipelines going west through the Arabian Peninsula, right up to Israel, right up to our Mediterranean ports, and you've just done away with the choke points for forever. That is definitely possible. So I see that as I see that as a real change that will follow this war. But I also see this war ending a lot faster than people think. I think you have to, in war, you have to grit your teeth. Churchill said that democracies suffer from the slumber of democracies, as he called it. And they only wake up, he said, they may wake up only when they hear the gong, the jarring gong of danger, is the way he put it. Well, you're hearing the jarring gong of danger. The jarring gong of danger is Iran gets nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. That's not a jarring gong. That is an apocalypse. Don't let it happen. And the function of leaders is to stand and tell people the truth, even when things are uncomfortable. That's what you have to do. And you don't always see the danger in time. But leaders are tasked with the task of seeing danger in time and acting on it. And I hope that in time, people will see the wisdom in don't see that. The fact that a lot of the news media are harking on a lot of fake news, but also a lot of short-sightedness, and do not see the historic period and the historic struggle that we are engaged in now, doesn't obviate these truths. We have to be strong. We have to be armed. We have to be more powerful than the barbarians, or they will not be merely at the gate. They'll crash our gates and destroy our societies. That's what Israel is doing now with the United States. And I'm very proud of the fact that the Israeli people are standing strong, that the Israeli army is standing strong. We rose from October 7th. Our people, our soldiers rose like lions. But in protecting ourselves and in joining with our great American friends, we're also protecting the entire world.
Thank you. Next question, Tom Burridge from ABC News.
Hi, Tom Burridge, ABC News. Prime Minister, given the escalation of attacks on US allies across the Gulf, given the spiraling energy costs, the high costs in general, the US service personnel killed in this war, many Americans are asking that question, whether you misled their government into starting this war, and for how long should Americans keep paying the price?
Well, I misled no one. And I didn't have to convince President Trump about the need to prevent Iran from developing its nuclear program, putting it underground, and being able to launch nuclear-tipped missiles at the United States. To him. And I think that our partnership is the only way to avoid this catastrophic development. Early on in my military service, a fellow soldier died in my arms. I lost a brother who fought terrorists, led the historic Entebbe rescue. The cost to bereaved families is enormous, and I sympathize and send the condolences of the people of Israel to these families and to the American people. Freedom is precious. It has its costs. But if you're not prepared to defend it, if you're not prepared to resist the tyrannies that are trying to arm themselves with the weapons of mass death, you will have no future. And therefore, we're doing what we can. As far as oil prices rising, spikes, you know what a spike is? You know what a spike is? It goes up and goes down. The Americans are working very hard, in every way that we can, to open the straits of Hormuz. And if they succeed, which I think they will, then oil prices will come down. But if you say, all right, I'm suffering right now, and people are, then I shouldn't do anything. I just succumb to the blackmail, let Iran get on with it, let them develop nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles to deliver them to New York and Los Angeles. You're going to be blackmailed in ways that you can't even imagine. I think what this war has done is unmask what Iran is. You know, we've said for years, look at these people. They're doing things that normal regimes do not do. I don't hear even adversaries of the United States chanting death to America, death to the great Satan, massacring tens of thousands of their own people at will like that in 2 days. You have that sometimes. But the combination of fanaticism, deep ideological lunacy, there's no other way to call it, the total and utter ruthlessness of this regime makes it uniquely dangerous. Uniquely dangerous not only to Israel and to the United States, but to everything in between and far beyond. And the fact that this is not recognized, you ask me, okay, what do people think? What did they think in the 30s? What did they think in the 30s when you had a terrible, ruthless, killer regime led by a lunatic that took one country after the other, did it very sequentially? What did they say? They said what? They said, let's stay out of this. It's not our war. It's not our problem. Right at us. I can't believe I can't believe that we're clueless. We're not clueless. I talk to many American friends. They're not clueless. They understand this. Some don't. Some are adamantly opposed, but many are adopting a wait and see attitude. But I can tell you that I've spoken, as I said a minute ago, I've spoken to many, many leaders. We're talking about dozens and dozens of leaders. And they all say the same thing. I understand it. Some of them come out and say it. They're bold. And some of them say, you know, I don't know, I wish I understand it, but some of my people don't, or my news media are against me and so on. I was glad to see in the United States that an enormous enormous percentage of President Trump's supporters, traditional supporters, understand it. And I hope that my friends and colleagues of many years on the other side of the aisle, those who understand and agree with what I just said, and there are quite a few of them, have the courage to come out and say it. Because at the end, what is the task of leaders if you're a leader? The most important thing is to assure the security of your people. And that means identifying danger in time and acting against it. That is a prerequisite for the survival of any biological organism. You have to identify danger in time and act in time against it. You either fight or flight. These are the two options you have. Where can you flee? Nowhere, because Iran can reach any part of the world. So you have to, at a certain point, fight. And this is the juncture where we've reached in time, not too late, but in time. I just will encourage all those who agree with what President Trump is saying, with what I'm saying too, act. I didn't have to convince President Trump of anything. He didn't need any convincing. He acted as a great leader does to protect his country and to protect the future.
Thank you. Next question. Alex Trayman from JNS. JNS, right behind you, yes.
Mr. Prime Minister, Hezbollah has opened up another front against Israel, launching rockets against Israeli civilians. Now ground troops are inside Lebanon. Is there any hesitancy toward launching a full ground operation to eradicate Hezbollah? And what would eradicating Hezbollah do to transform Israel-Lebanon relations in the greater Middle East?
Look, Alex, I can't divulge our battle plans. Obviously, Hezbollah is not what Hezbollah had been. I said in my opening remarks in Hebrew that they were talking about 150,000. Nasrallah. We destroyed all the Hamas, or rather all the Ridwan infrastructure right next to our border. We now have a security corridor, security zone that is there that prevents this kind of invasion, and we have plans for the future. Obviously, our number one effort is geared towards Iran. If the regime goes, you know that Hezbollah goes. But in any case, we're devising our plans in such a way that we could remove this threat as well.
Thank you. Final question from Jeremy Diamond at CNN.
Mr. Prime Minister, Jeremy Diamond, CNN. Nice to see you. You've assassinated Iran's supreme leader and dozens of other senior Iranian officials. The result of that so far has been the appointment of a new supreme leader considered to be even more hardline than his father. The Iranian regime is not showing any signs of collapse as of now. So I wonder, what do you say to those who say that killing those individuals is in fact empowering the hardliners in Iran? And are you confident that your strategy will still lead to regime change? And then secondly, if I may, you've also indicated today that you made a commitment to President Trump not to strike these oil and gas facilities in the future. Should President Trump come to you one day and say oil prices are too high, it's time to end this war, will you listen to him? And do you need the United States in order to continue this campaign alone?
Was that a single question? Jeremy, you really hogged it, but I'll answer your questions. I'm not sure who's running Iran right now. Mujtaba the replacement Ayatollah has not shown his face. Have you seen him? We haven't. And we can't vouch exactly what is happening there. There is a cloud here that's not clear. What we see is that there's a lot of tensions inside the people who are edging for the top. It's not a uniform position. You see that sometimes with the contradictory orders that are given. You know, they do one thing and then they withdraw it and so on. I think it's important that they know that if they think they're going to target the world, target the president of the United States and so on, they themselves are being targeted. That creates a lot of uncertainty. We've found that can have an effect. The removal of Nasrallah has never been been replaced because some people are not replaceable. I think the authority and the hold that Khamenei has had. Forget them as fast as we can. Not only the top command, we're seeing cracks in the field. It's sort of like a hollowed out, rotten piece of that's holding outside, but there's a lot of rot inside. We're seeing some defections. We're seeing fear and trepidation. The IRGC units that are manning the ballistic missiles. You know why? Because they're afraid to die. They're not. They're all suicidal. In fact, most of them are not. So we're seeing cracks, but we're going to hit them again and again. The minimum thing we want to do is, again, erase the industrial capacity that they had to produce these weapons. They'll have to build it from a start, and that's very hard. It's very hard to do underground, too. So they're not going to be able to just take the pieces and move them below the earth. It's going to be a lot harder for them. But ideally, if it cracks enough, and with some other things that I won't get into, yes, the regime could change. Is it guaranteed? No. And is it up to the Iranian people in the final accounting to make use of the conditions that we're doing in weakening this regime? We'll see. I cannot tell you. They're very brave, by the way. I don't come and criticize them in any way. I think they're very brave. I think they've suffered enormously. And the question is, will we have a meeting ground between the weakening of the regime and the rising of the people in many ways that could develop? We'll see. On the oil and gas questions, I can only tell you this. Look, I don't think any two leaders have been as coordinated as President Trump and I. He's the leader. I'm, his ally. America is the leader. Israel is, as the National Security Memorandum described us, I think a month ago, 6 weeks ago, I think, something like that. They called Israel the model ally. That's how they call it, the model ally. It's not a superpower, but America is seeking around the world, and you hear it from the speeches of President Trump and others in the administration. They say, "Where are you? We've helped you all these years. Where are you when we're doing something that is as important, at least as important for you as it is important for us?" And yet one country is there. And against all the vilifications that are leveled at Israel is sponging off America and all that. No, it's not. It's not. Israel is a brave country, a resolute country with an incredible army, incredible soldiers, incredible courage. And we're fighting alongside the United States when the chips are down. We're fighting with the United States. We're fighting for a common goal. So I can tell you that that's the most important coordination. But in practice, President Trump and I speak regularly. We discuss things. Our staffs discuss things. Our militaries are in close coordination as never before. But ultimately, President Trump makes his own decisions. And do I respect them? Yes, I do.
question is whether you would or could continue the war without.
Just one question, Jeremy. Thank you.
Would you without the United States, without the refueling capabilities, for example?
We're going to thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
You
Thank
exhausted
you,
your
everyone,
questions.
for your questions today. Thank you, everyone.
תושבי הצפון הם גיבורים, תושבי הצפון עומדים כרגע במעמסה הקשה, כל אזרחי ישראל עומדים במעמסה הקשה, אבל הם עומדים במעמסה קשה במיוחד, משום שזמן ההתראה שלהם הוא הכי קצר, ואנחנו מתכוונים לעזור להם בכל דרך, אבל בסוף העזרה הכי גדולה זה להרחיק ולהסיר את האיום, ואנחנו לא נוותר על זה.
Thank you so much.
ואנחנו לא
We're
נוותר
going to
על
be
זה.
concluding now.
תודה
Thank
רבה
you,
לכם.
Mr. Prime Minister. Thank you.
All right, that was the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in that international briefing to the world press. We welcome all those who joined us for the very first time on this show, the World in View, and updates on Iran war. If you love what you heard, or if you love the presentation, please give us a thumb up, give us a like. I see a lot of people watching. Show us some love. So continue to get more inspired to do more. But before I leave, I'm going to, present an update. As for all this that is playing out here, how it is resonating with Africa, especially Nigeria. Yes, Iran has been fingered as one country that is supporting terrorist groups in Nigeria. And you need to see what is taking place in some parts of Nigeria. That's in the north of Nigeria, especially where you have a huge Muslim population. And why are we seeing those protests? We are seeing the protests because of the high level of illiteracy and ignorance that is being spread by especially Muslim leaders in the north of Nigeria. Yes, the most uneducated people in that country, and where terrorists run amok unchallenged by the country's security forces. And just yesterday, two couple of days ago, a terrorist attack took place at a university teaching hospital in Meduguri, the hotbed of Boko Haram insurgency. A lot of people died, and a few days before that, over 50 soldiers were slaughtered. Yes, and the people in that part of Nigeria, the Muslims in that part of Nigeria, in the north of Nigeria, we didn't see any of them take to the streets to protest uh, the massacre of the soldiers, or to protest the bombing, the suicide bombing at the university teaching hospital. So that tells you how the level of ignorance that is being spread in Nigeria, in the north of Nigeria, not every other part of Nigeria. So I just wanted to make this very clear. And to my Nigerian audience, especially, I see some from that group. They don't understand that this whole thing is not about religion. So that's what they tell them. It is uh, Iran is fighting the battle of Allah, right? And then they put it in their head like that. And that's all that they run away with. They are not, because they deny them access to education, literally, no, they can't read or write. So whatever these crazy liars who preach hate everywhere, we put those in the minds of these, especially young people, and they take this thing from generation to generation. You see, when things are happening in Iran like this, some Nigerians will be destroying fellow Nigerians, and they don't even know that majority of the Iranians don't even care about Nigerians. They don't even know what Nigerians are going through, in their own country. They don't know that people are being massacred, but the rogue regime in Iran that is just being ousted has a dirty finger in arming terrorist groups in Nigeria. So we want this action sustained so that there will be peace in the Gulf region and by extension in Africa, where there's a high level illiteracy, especially when it comes to this Islamic Christian thing, they don't understand that they are first Africans before they were Muslims or Christians. So whenever there is anything happening in the Middle East, you see it, especially from the Muslims end of it. In the north of Nigeria, not the Muslims in other parts of Nigeria are moderate. They don't pick up arms. They understand the meaning of citizenship. They understand the meaning of a country. They understand the meaning of coming together. But the religious leaders in the north, the extreme religious leaders in the north, do not want the country to unite. They have all these dirty businesses with these terrorist groups and the drivers of terrorism from especially the Middle East and pointedly Iran and somehow Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and all those other places. They see themselves because they are Muslims that they are more brothers. They are brothers and sisters, even deeper. And then you who share ancestry with them, you who share bloodline with them, you who share skin color with them, they trash you. They make you look like you are inferior or you are not clean enough, that you are not their brother. But they are brothers to Arabs, they are brothers to Iranians. So this is an eye opener. This is an opportunity to break it down to them, to see, for them to understand what they have been doing. So the question now is, you idiots who are extreme Muslims in the north, led by a criminal called Saad Abubakar, how come you have not been protesting the massacre of your Nigerian soldiers? How come you have not been protesting the massacre that took place at the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital? So why is the silence? Why is everybody quiet? So you mean you love Iranians more than your fellow Nigerians? Yes, you love them more than your fellow Nigerians. So, and the Iranians, do they give a fuck about you? So you hear them. So hear this. It's not about religion. And the way this about religion is a polluted ideological war that they have been waging in that region. They don't want peace. They don't want uh, uh, brotherly coexistence with the other countries out there. They want to dominate the region. That's what this whole thing is about. And then stretching their hands beyond their borders. But before I leave, I'm going to show you one more about what is taking place, especially in relation to what is happening in Iraq from the United States standpoint. I'm going to show you what is taking place. And there was this hearing at the Congress from the National Security Advisor. So she went there to take some questions about this war, how long it's going to take, and the cost of the war to the United States, and many more things that you're going to be hearing. Okay, take a listen.
Wide threats. Here's our senior national correspondent, Rich Edson. Good evening, Rich.
Hi, good evening, John. Well, the nation's top intelligence officials testified throughout the day before the House Intelligence Committee. Committee members largely focused on worldwide threats, but they were specifically focused on one region, that's the Middle East, after U.S. and Israeli actions have been going on against Iran there for the better part of 3 weeks. Democrats called President Trump's decision to attack Iran a deeply risky venture, absent any indication that Iran was going to strike the U.S.
Is there any evidence that Iran intended to conduct a preemptive attack on the U.S. prior to beginning this war? Yes or no?
There's a body of intelligence that we'll be able to cover in the classified portion of this hearing that does reflect that in the likely event of a conflict between Iran and Israel, that the U.S. would be immediately attacked, regardless of whether the United States stayed out of that conflict.
Now, as American allies say they'll help to try to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard testified that Iran still has the means to threaten the strait, but that its capabilities have largely been degraded. And as American and Israeli militaries have joined in attacking Iran for weeks, Gabbard told the committee that the two allies do have unique aims.
The objectives that have been laid out by the president are different from the objectives that have been laid out by the Israeli government.
And how do they differ?
We can see through the operations that the Israeli government has been focused on disabling the Iranian leadership.
Gabbard said the U.S. is primarily focused on degrading Iran's ability to fight, attacking its rocket launchers, weapons, and navy. She added that Iran's new supreme leader was severely injured in an Israeli airstrike, and as a result, it is unclear what exactly is going on now with Iran's leadership. John?
All right, Rich answered for us. Rich, thank you. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gave a televised address about 3 hours ago to the Israeli people. He said Israel will hold off on any further attacks against Iran's giant natural gas field at President Trump's request. He is also speaking about regime change in Iran. Our senior correspondent Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv for us tonight. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, John. And Israel's prime minister is making the big claim that the war effort is prevailing against Iran, but he says it's too early to tell if the Iranian people will take to the streets and take their country back.
We are winning, and Iran is being decimated. Iran's missile and drone arsenal is being massively degraded and will be destroyed.
Just 20 days into the Israeli-American-led attack on Iran, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claims Iran has never been weaker, and that the Islamic Republic no longer can enrich uranium or make ballistic missiles.
I also see this war ending a lot faster than people think. I think you have to, in war, you have to grit your teeth.
His comments come as energy infrastructure in the region is under attack, from Saudi Arabia to Kuwait to Qatar. Iran is targeting oil and natural gas assets in the Gulf in retaliation for an Israeli attack on a major Iranian gas source.
As a result of this action, the fuel, energy, and gas infrastructures that are the source of the invasion will be burned and reduced to ashes.
Gulf state leaders are condemning the strikes as oil and gas prices soar. Qatar says it's open to diplomacy, but the Saudi foreign minister says whatever trust existed with Iran is shattered and they may join the fight.
We have reserved the right to take military actions if deemed necessary.
Iran has long threatened destruction in the region, and experts say the world has been paying a risk tax because of that. Now, as the Iranian threat is realized and the world endures it, the current spike in oil prices could give way to long-term reduction.
You're going to see either a dramatically weakened and really revealing a paper tiger that Iran is, or regime change. But regardless, you're going to see a Strait of Hormuz that no longer passes on a dramatic tax to the global economy.
And for the first time ever, Israeli fighters Iranian naval assets in the Caspian Sea with the intent of destroying all of Iran's military capabilities. Israel's cabinet spoke today and suggested the war could last another couple of weeks. John?
All right. Well, the world would like to see that. That's for sure. Mike Chubbin. Mike, thank you.
Epic fury blowing the bejesus out of Iran's missile capabilities as President Trump blew the minds of reporters today during his Oval Office meeting with Japan's Prime Minister.
We went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay, right?
Her face on that one is priceless. Despite Trump's surprise attack, the meeting was light and cordial because just moments before it started, Japan and 6 other allies agreed to his demands to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Reporters also asking Trump about Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, saying members of Iran's leaders are defecting. Watch.
Well, we have a man named the Treasury Secretary here, so maybe he wants to discuss it. Does anybody know? Do you know who he is? Central Casting.
We are seeing the defections at all levels as they're starting to sense what's going on with the regime.
You have a lot of military defections in Iran. I don't blame them.
Talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu about attacking the oil and gas fields.
Yeah, I did. I told him don't do that, and he won't do that.
Meanwhile, the media is trying to drive a wedge between Trump and his MAGA base over Iran, but CNN's overly eager data nerd put an end to that debate.
Best way to unclog your arteries? Cut out salt? Nope. Take blood pressure meds? Nope. Follow The DASH diet? No, hold on to your chest because this
MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. 100%. If you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump. 0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins.
He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins, Dana. You were just saying that before the show started.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you know sports, yeah, it's obvious.
What did you make of? Actually, that was the first time I saw the clip of Donald Trump mentioning Pearl Harbor, which is, it kind of shows you that he doesn't have much reverence. Like, he treats a prime minister the way he would treat a reporter or
Everybody's the same.
Everybody's the same. So it just brings up Pearl Harbor because she's there.
It's funny. So Giorgia Meloni in Italy, she's got a great face for reactions. If you ever see, like, there's all these memes about her. The Prime Minister of Japan, a little bit more subtle. In a way, I felt like she kind of, like, 10,000 thoughts went through her mind at the same time, where it's sort of like, that's funny, I shouldn't laugh, everybody's watching me, I don't know what to do. But I also think she's super smart, and she knew that she wasn't going to go into her first meeting with the president at the Oval Office without something to give.
Yeah.
And they're working on it. And I also think that the White House, in some ways, and I think maybe behind the scenes, they were a little bit more understanding that all of these leaders also have constituents.
Yeah.
And they have to figure out a way to talk to people, their own citizens, about why they would do this, how it would work, etc. I think, like, that got underway today. I would mention one other thing. The media coverage has been what it is, right? If you're looking at media coverage as you and I understand it, everybody at this table, right? We're here, we're doing a show. We were just talking about the McLaughlin group. We know that there's social media. I think that